We're going to look at what it is to know something in this video. What are you talking about when you say I know, right? So really what we're talking about is knowledge, right? In particular, this section of the course, we're going to give it the traditional analysis of knowledge. Um, Arguably, this goes back to Plato. Not really clear if he ever had this view, but a lot of people attribute this to Plato. When we look at Getier's case in the next lecture, Gettyer's going to be attacking this particular view of what knowledge is. And this is just a really intuitive view of what it is to know. So it's worth starting here. So what do we mean when we know something? What has to be the case in order for you to know like anything? The traditional analysis of knowledge says that there's three key parts to any knowledge claim. You have to believe it. You can't know something you don't believe. The thing you know has to actually be the case. You can't know things that are false, and you have to have justification for what you believe. That's a traditional analysis, right? So that's all we're going to get out of this video is just these are the three parts of knowledge. So let's talk about this a bit. Um, Weirdly, in recent years, this is the one that students seem to have the hardest time with, is the idea that to know something, it has to be true. Um, I remember being in grad school and telling one of my friends that I actually think this is the thing that people are going to complain about in the future when we're teaching it, and he thought it was nuts. He thought, how could somebody possibly think that you could know something that's not true? That's just weird. Uh, but I mean, I guess today people increasingly talk about their own lived experiences or their subjective truths or their I think we use knowledge and truth in ways that are really atypical or I think often when we're talking about my truth, people don't mean the word true the way that it's standardly used, right? Like for something to be true is to make a claim about what the world's like, right? Truth is a matter of how things are, not how I perceive them to be, nor how they can be shown to be. Um, we might not know what's true. We might not know what is the case, but things are a certain way, right? If anything is true, then there are certain facts about the world that just are the case. Um, if something is false, right, it can't be known, right? So Rachel Notley didn't win the 2019 provincial election, so nobody can know that she did win it because she didn't, right? It would be what would it mean for you to say, I know that this thing that didn't happen actually happened? You just be lying or confused or misinformed. Now, sometimes there's true facts about the world that nobody can know. In fact, maybe it's the case that we can never really know anything, but that's okay. That has nothing to do with whether or not there's things that are true, right? Something's truth doesn't require that anybody actually can know it. Something's truth doesn't require that anybody can actually prove it. Um, Not all truths have to even be established, right? So some truths are things that maybe nobody can ever tell you what actually is the truth there, right? So if you flip a coin and you never check how it lands, it can be true that it landed heads, but nobody, not even you, would ever know that that's what happened, right? Truth is the way things are, not the way we feel they are, not the way we believe they are, not the way we perceive, and not even the way they can be shown to be. But when it comes to the standard account of knowledge, right, truth has to be a part of a knowledge claim because you can't know something that's false. You can think you know something, right? You can believe something, but just because you believe something or think it doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it a knowledge claim about the world. So that's why truth is included as part of the standard account of knowledge. So things have to be true in order for you to know them. Second part of this is you have to actually believe things. Now, I think this is usually pretty straightforward, right? The idea here is that if you don't believe something, then you don't really know it, right? Regardless of whether or not you'd have reasons to believe it, or regardless of whether or not it's actually the case. If you just don't believe it, you don't know it, right? How could you possibly know something you do not believe? So there we go. Things have to be true, and they have to be believed. And then finally, in order for something to be a piece of knowledge, The standard account says you have to have justification, right? You have to have the right relationship to the truth claim. You can't just get lucky to believe something that's true, right? Suppose that Will goes out and buys a lotto ticket and then confident believes for no reason at all that he's going to win the lottery. If Will actually did win the lottery, right? He had a true belief about the world, but we don't want to say he knew he was going to win the lottery, right? That's just luck. He just got lucky to have a belief that happened to be true. Most people, definitely on the standard account of knowledge, what people want to say is that in order for you to genuinely know something, your belief has to be connected to that truth in the right kind of way. Yeah, you have to have a justification, right? The right kind of justification. Looks like in the Western tradition, Plato and Socrates are the earliest defenders of this view. Again, some people think it's not even clear that they had this view, but it's usually attributed to Plato and some views he defends in the Meno and the Theaetetus, which I'm sure I've spelled completely wrong on that slide. So that's the standard account of knowledge. Next video, we're going to look at Gettier. Gettier famously gives a critique of this. He gives us a reason to think that this can't be what knowledge is. Have a good one.